Hey everyone, it's Larry here at LC Model Building, and this episode we're going to be doing our painting on our hull. And when I started initially, I kind of messed up. I'm just gonna admit that right off the bat. I do correct it at the end, and I show you the corrections I did. Unfortunately, when I did my initial tape off, I had it way too low for the boot line, and basically had to kind of redo a lot of what I did through the video, but I'll show you what I ended up doing. It came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it all in all, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here we are kind of back in action. Before we go too far with the whole painting process, I want to kind of take a look at this whole prop situation, because I do think I'm going to need to set them before I actually do the painting of the hull. And if I remember right, I did on Titanic beforehand too. So what we're going to do is basically, I just want to figure out where things need to go and all of that good stuff when it comes down to this. So basically, each of these, and I'm not necessarily going to have to actually set them right now, but I just might anyway, because once I get the hull under paint, it's a lot harder to, it's a lot more to worry about with scratching it and whatnot. So these don't worry me too much. I'm going to have to drill out a little bit over here just so this fits down in there a little bit nicer. This here is going to be a whole different ball game, because that is a very thin spot where essentially that needs to be that. Or, I mean, I can go backwards. It's not a big deal to do that, and that might be the key. So I'm going to have to drill out that lower hole there where that prop goes. Now, there are also these, which kind of then go through, like this will go through that. Well, I did it backwards. That will go through that, and then your prop essentially goes onto the end here. And basically just sits like that. But to fix that, I'm going to have to just kind of poke a hole here to figure out where I need to cut away on some of the hull plating, which won't be a big deal at all, as you can see. So I kind of intentionally tried to keep hull plates so that they would be near there as well. But yeah, this should not take much effort. But the other aspect to this is these could potentially be leaks too, so they're going to have to be filled in good with the what I use is JB Weld Marine, and that has worked very well so far with Titanic, so I've been happy with that. I'm not finding the other hole here. Okay, there it is. So yeah, I'm gonna work on getting this prepped out, and then we'll get it taped off and painted. I'm not gonna, in this video, hook motors up and all that kind of stuff because I actually don't have my ESCs yet. And I haven't decided what route I'm going from a controller standpoint, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to use the same ones that I did on Titanic, but we'll figure that out more as we get closer. So essentially then, that's going to have to get cut a little bit more in order for them to fit in there. And then I'm looking, well, these will go down inside more, so I was going to say they don't fit exactly from a length standpoint, so it is going to be important to get these holes a little bit bigger than they need to be, first off, which so far seems to be happening pretty easy. Yep, okay. Doesn't want to kind of go through that so hard. There must just be a big spot of glue right there. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to work on getting this trimmed out, and then I'm going to cut this off and drill through here, and then I will be back. Okay, so quick addendum or change. So the bearing side goes on the inside. I forgot, had to go back and look. And I have them basically right now set, and what I did was bend down these little ears here that you can see there, and then I'm just going to put some glue in there to hold it for now. Now that will end up getting a coating of what do you call it over it, the JB Weld Marine, but essentially we want to make sure that it's not hitting the hull, which we got good clearance here and good clearance here, and basically that it's gonna not bind. So I feel pretty good with all of that. These also, I showed them kind of backwards. They were supposed to be that way, so the flat end is out. So nothing major, I just wanted to kind of cover that real quick. Now the rudders here go into here, so these holes are going to have to get drilled out more, and I need to drill out this one. So I'm going to go grab the drill bit. I will definitely drill off of camera just because I don't know how exciting that will be, but we got the spot here, and I'm just going to kind of start it with the knife so I have a little bit of a starting point. I'm going to start with small bits and work my way up. The good thing is, with it being this way, I don't have to go near as far as I feared. So let me go grab the drill, and I'll be back. Okay, so I got all three propellers in, props, shafts, whatever you want to call them, screws. Everything turns good. I got the holes drilled for the rudders, and they fit very snug and good, so no issues with that. So from here, and yeah, it doesn't move. Okay, great. I just was making sure that it's not hitting anything, and yep, we seem to be good. So from here, I'm going to take the prop off, just so it's not bumping into anything as I'm moving around to paint. And these do have a set down screw, so obviously I didn't screw them in yet, but there we go. Basically that is the running gear, so to say. Now I didn't do any of the glue down in here yet, and I can do that later. That's not that big of a deal. I'll end up doing it tomorrow. I'm just unfortunately out of my JB Weld. But in the meantime, I can start taping off to paint my lower below the waterline section. So that is going to be red, And what I'm using for tape is just this, and then I'll cover it with a bigger painter's tape. But I'm basically just going to follow the line here, the water line, and it'll be a black line above the plating, and it'll be red basically below the plating. So that's pretty much what that plan looks like. Now there is this other piece here. This is part of the rudder servo, or when I get the servo all hooked up, but I'll just put that in a bag for now. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this taped up and start getting it ready for paint. So yeah, essentially just laying it down here and getting it ready to go. And the ship fell. I have found that it does not like to stand well on its side. So we're not necessarily going to be perfect on those plates. We'll be very close to being on the plates, but there may be some that kind of goes over just because of how the plate landed. But I think for the most part it should be okay. And then before I actually spray, I'm going to spend a little bit of time just kind of sanding down some rough areas and just correcting a couple little mistakes that I made when I put the plating on. But for the most part, we're pretty much ready to go as is. Yeah, that's going to turn out okay. So well, go ahead and tape off the other side. Now the prop shafts, they would have also been the red as well, so I don't really have to worry about doing anything with them. I'm actually just gonna probably leave them in the ship. Hopefully I get all sides of them. If I don't, I'll come back and paint them separately just to ensure. But I'm just kind of hoping that I'm okay as is. Yeah, this area dips down just a little bit, unfortunately. So I could do one of two things. I could either put some bigger plates on to kind of try to, and I think I'm going to, just because I don't really want that dip that you can see there. So I'm going to have to do something about that quick. But luckily, those plates just went on today and last night, so they're not completely like hard set. So they should just kind of pop off, and then I can replace them with a slightly bigger plate. So not too big of a deal, but I'm going to do that quick and then get some other tape on the rest of this, and then it'll be time to do some red paint. So I'll be back. Okay, so we're taped off, and I'm pretty much ready to go. Did quite a little bit of sanding on it, so I'm going to hit it with a coat of primer, and then hit it with some Vallejo Model Masters, or Model Color, what is it, 164 Maroon Red, or Hall Red. Yeah, Hall Red, not too hard. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get this ready to go, and then I'll bring it back up. I do still have to glue on the bilge keels, so I guess I should probably do that before. So I'm going to glue them on, and then I should be about ready to spray. So I'll get the primer down, like I said, and then hit it with some paint. So we'll be back. Okay, so I almost had a big miss. Luckily I caught it, but yeah, I forgot to put the wing props on, so they are now on. I had to take it back apart and basically reset it, but they are in, and everything is turning okay, so I don't have too much concern there. So we should be good. So I'm gonna go finish up a little bit of sanding and get ready to primer. Okay, so we are painted and clear coated. It is, I just got it to a point where it's pretty well dry, so I'm not going to spray the black tonight. I'm going to let it sit overnight, but I'm going to basically do this in layers, and that's kind of what my plan is. But I traditionally show my unmasking every time I do this, so I will continue that tradition. And I'm really happy with the color. The color came out really, really nice, honestly. And now that it has paint on it, the hull plates really add a lot of texture that I think looks really good on the ship. So pretty happy with it. But we'll see here how well the tape off was, and I kind of also use this as practice for when I do my real tape lines that actually matter. So I just kind of always like to see how the technique goes from one line to the next. And I originally thought about spraying all of the gray, but I'm not. Like I said, I want to do this in phases, so I'm just going to kind of work my way up as I go. I will probably spray the black Baltic camouflage line when I do the black boot strip along the hull here. But yeah, this is turning out real nice. Got one little spot that bled through right there. I mean, obviously it'll be covered with black anyhow, so I'm not too worried about it, but it definitely is coming out pretty good, all in all. Okay, now one thing also with this paint, I've always found with Vallejo, it's really, really important to do it clear over it. So it is pretty well prone to chipping if you don't. But yeah, there we go. So that is our first coat. So I'm gonna let it, like I said, harden up overnight, and then tomorrow I will do the black boot strip line. So we'll be back. Okay, so we have our black line painted on here, and next up we're going to put our window details right here above on this run right here. It does not call for them on the upper level, so only the lower level here, and that is piece F39. So we're going to go ahead and get those on, but first I'm going to drill these holes out. And I debated whether or not I was going to light the lower half of the hull, but I am going to light it. So what I'm going to use for that, because it's not that many portholes, is just fiber optic. I just got to find my spool that is the right size. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and drill them out and then start to go ahead and put these on. Got a little spot of glue there I gotta sand off quick, and then I also have to do the remainder of my scribing lines on here. However, I actually had a suggestion from a viewer, and I might give it a try, because obviously my hull plating is a little bit bigger than what scale would be. So I may just go ahead and use some of the double-sided foil tape that I've used on a lot of other builds and see how that looks. So I'm going to try putting that down and just kind of experiment with it, but we shall see how that ends up. So once I get these windows or these portholes on, I will let you know. And there they are on the KA set right here. So that's piece 39. And yeah, I'm gonna pause it, work on putting them on, and then I will be back. Okay, so I have the Baltic stripes taped off. I already got the black line on there. I had to also extend the line up here. Basically from here to here, it's higher, as you can see here, but then it dips down. So this will be the white, and basically I measured the angle versus the anatomy of a ship. And now we're taped off and all that good stuff. And then I did the waves back here, and they are different from the stern side, or the port and starboard side. And there's the bow up here. So I'm going to go ahead and paint them white, and I'm using Vallejo white. So I'm going to get these sprayed up, let them dry, peel off the masking, and then do the other side. So I'm only doing one side at a time, just because I don't want to risk bumping myself with the hull, and it won't really matter. So this is actually extremely time consuming to do, you know, masking these, but I think the effect will be pretty well worth it. So let me go ahead and get this paint mixed up and sprayed, and then we'll come back after I get the white done. Okay, so we're painted up on this side. You can see basically how that turned out, and I'm pretty happy with it all in all. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the tape over on the other side here, and we'll see how we come out. So there was actually quite a bit of taping to get this to this point, basically. And I'm not going to be surprised if there's some little touch-ups here and there that I got to do just from bleed through. That kind of is normal with this type of painting and having lines in it and all that kind of stuff, but sometimes you get lucky and really don't have much to do. But we shall see as we're going here. So far so good though, really. Now, there is that thicker line that we had to go ahead and get painted. And then obviously you have your false wave back here. And that was just basic paint off, or tape off. And I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. So no real complaints. And then we'll also go ahead and peel off the waterline tape then here in a minute. And just kind of get an idea what that turned out like. This is the first time I've used this yellow tape. It's actually just Hobby Lobby tape at, I don't know, it was a couple dollars, and I'm actually pretty happy with how this is doing. And you can see the white line goes lower than the black. And we got our wave up here. A couple little spots to touch up, I see. Nothing major though. Just looking for the best place to pull the tape without scratching. So I will go over the whole entire hull then with a clear coat once we're done here. And I'll use a flat clear just to ensure we don't get any scratches. So yeah, and there's some touch up I got to do right along there. But yeah, all in all, I'd say we were pretty successful. So now we're going to go ahead and tear off the hull paint, or hull tape. And this has been on here for over a week now, so I am mildly worried that some of the paint will lift off. But I did clear coat it ahead of time, so hopefully not. We shall see. Now, I've had a fair amount of comments on Facebook already about the hull plates and it not being accurate, and yeah, I kind of said that in the beginning, that it wasn't going to be 100% accurate. I was more going for the texture, which it gave, so I'm honestly not too disappointed with it, and I really don't care what people have to say about it not being correct or perfect or whatever. But I'm good with it. And I had somebody ask why I'd waste all the time to do that, and again, it comes down to it's my build, and I wanted it that way because the model doesn't have it that way. And I do sail my ships, so it kind of gives some texture when you're at the lake and people ask questions and all that kind of stuff. So again, I'm not too disappointed with it. So we'll get this all taped off, or untaped, and then I'll kind of do a final shot of it, and we'll pretty much wrap up the video from here. Okay, I think the red is pretty nice. I'm honestly pretty happy. And I didn't have any paint seem to pull off from the hull, so that's exciting. So just got a little bit more to go, and then I'll put this on the table behind me and do a final view. All right. So let me pause it a second and move. Okay, so here we go. This is pretty much final paint. And yes, I'm aware that Bismarck did not have sails. That is a ship behind it. I've had to clarify that in about 40 comments on Facebook as well. But yes, there is the paint. Pretty happy with it. And the other side looks like this. So all in all, once I do my touch-up, I think we'll be okay. And yeah, I'm pretty darn happy with the paint. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here on LC Model Shipbuilding. On the next episode, we're going to be putting our decks down and starting that whole process. So we'll see you next time. Okay, so I thought this video was done, but it's not. So my line was way low. It was actually down here, and that was way off once I started really looking at the book, and a couple people noticed online and all that good stuff. So I'm doing a correction. I've already kind of got it raised to where I want it. The problem then is my scribe line was not exactly straight, so I'm going to kind of doctor this up as best I can at this point, and I'm using some of that foil tape, and I got to repaint it. I got to paint the gray basically above here, so I'm going to respray that, and that will still give me a line that should look pretty natural, I mean, to being what I'm looking for, but we'll see how this comes out. So stay tuned. Okay, so I already did the other side, so I know how it turned out, and I'm pretty happy with it. So one thing I would recommend if you are going to scribe lines or do hull painting on this model, I thought the styrene effect would be okay, but like looking back, I really wish I would have not scribed, and I really wish I would have just used the foil tape, because it gave the appearance that I really wanted, and it really made a big difference. So I'm happy with how it turned out ultimately. Like I said, I kind of wish I would have done things a little bit different, but I've learned a little bit of a lesson for future builds, and that's kind of what it's all about, I guess. And hopefully somebody else doesn't do the same thing. I mean, I'm okay with it. It turned out okay, but I really like the effect quite a bit better with the foil tape. So just my 2 cents. And as you can see, it gives you the line, and you don't really have to worry about having uneven scribe markings. So just my 2 cents in what I would do if I were doing it again. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting the tape pulled off. I got a couple little spots I'll have to touch up here and there, like right there. A little bit of bleed through happened, but yeah, I'll show this real quick before I wrap out the video and end it. But all in all, we are going to be on to the next step, which is going to be putting the scale decks down on the hull, or yeah, the scale decks down on the deck, and beginning the build-up. So that'll be the next video, but yeah, I'll give a shot of this all complete here in a minute. So let me pause it and I'll be back. Okay, so here you can see our completed paint, and it definitely is much closer to what it should have been, and our line is much more straight and all that good stuff. So there it is kind of from afar, and yeah, I'm feeling pretty good with it. So that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you very much for watching, and like I said, the next episode we're going to be doing the decking and getting that started. So thanks very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here on LC Model Shipbuilding.